happy, you would look back into the perspective and you're like, well, that's not true anymore. I'm in bliss right now.
Definitely born into a metaphysical household.
Becoming more aware and expanded to the natural mechanics of consciousness that is the creation itself.
There's Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl.
Hey.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hi.
Hi. Great. So this is going to be an awesome show. We got so many good things in store for our listeners. This is going to be really cool. So, fitness and nutrition tying into our, physical being, and how I think we touched a little bit on it in our first show when we discussed the idea that our physical bodies and brains and, selves, we are just really antennas for our consciousness, right? So if we are in peak condition, if we're healthy, we're going to be able to be more connected to ourselves and, everything else, and be more aware. And this sort of aids in our physical evolution, our spiritual evolution, and physical evolution.
Definitely, it's a good permission slip.
Sweet. So, you guys, just before you were talking about the idea of cleansing, and how important it is to be, healthy on the inside as well as the out. Because as a personal trainer, like, we understand the idea of being physically fit, but being physically healthy, is something to be brought to attention. It's really important that we're healthy on the inside as well as the outside.
In Ayurveda, they speak about getting like nutrition, actual nutrients, putting the right nutrients in your body.
Yeah,
is just as important as eliminating waste from your body. And so the detoxing, everybody hears about this. It can be a miracle cure for certain things. Even people that have had cancer have said that they've been miraculously healed by taking Dr. Scholl's intestinal formula. Number 2 is the main one that even Bashar has recommended.
right.
Yeah, so I've talked to Ansley about it, and she's like, where can I order it? I'm going to order one. We're going to do it. And then maybe, after a couple of weeks, we'll talk about how we feel and what's been going on with that. And I know that you, Trent, you've told me that you don't put a lot of junk in your body. You watch everything you put in your body.
Yeah, everything I eat is written down and cataloged and scripted. Everything that I eat throughout the day. Yeah, sure. Well, it's just something that I'm passionate about, and so I never go to delis. I never go out to eat. I cook all my food at home, and I never eat anything out of a box or a package. Also, being 100% vegan, helps with that, because I just eat foods that are simply those foods at all. So when we look on the back of certain foods, there's a supplement facts or the nutrition facts, right? A lot of times, we can see the calories, the fat, cholesterol, sodium, carbohydrate, sugar, protein, dietary fiber, and stuff like that. But there's also the ingredients list. And by really observing the ingredients list, we're really getting an idea of what we're actually putting into our body, because there's a huge difference between the ingredients list and the nutrition facts. And what you guys were talking about, which is very, very important, about the cleansing, and like Cheryl, you just said before, about so many contaminants and things that are inside of our intestinal tract, how it's winded up together, and a lot of stuff doesn't get flushed out if we're not cleansed enough. So we can be harboring all types of toxic things inside of our belly, which will, in turn, yield negative effects. And a lot of people don't realize this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's disease is like taken such a rise because of all the processed food. And I mean, this Cheryl was explaining to me when we were talking about the cleanse, this Scholl's number 2, Dr. Scholl's number 2. Do I have that right? number 2 cleanse.
Yeah.
She was is he the one that did those sandals, those like Dr. Scholl's insoles and sandals and everything?
That's a different Dr. Scholl's, actually. It's spelled differently too.
Okay, cool. All of a sudden I had a flashback to like the 2nd grade or something. Everybody got those sandals. But yeah, I mean, like Cheryl was explaining that with that cleanse, that there's stuff in your intestines that could have been in there even at age 27 or in your 30s from childhood.
Sure.
So there's like this stuff kind of creeps up on you. It just, yeah. So
Right.
it's disease. Everybody does not have to be diseased, like getting cancer and diabetes, and I mean all
And
this
really
changed
we
just by
need
diet
the
alone.
cleaner we are, the more we free up our immune system, our blood cells, to be able to do the jobs that it needs to do, to fight off diseases, to fight off bacteria or viruses or whatever. And pretty much what it is that your cells, the receptor sites of your cells, are clogged with toxins themselves. And when the receptor sites are clogged with toxins, they're not shaped the right way anymore. And the peptides, the proteins, can't dock in. So it's like a dead dock, and the peptide just bounces off the cell looking for another cell with a dock that's fresh that it can plug into. So the more dirt you have, the harder it is for you to be able to heal and to be able to keep yourself young and fit and all that.
Agreed.
What about like people who may struggle with kind of mental conditions? Do you know?
Yeah, well, this is what my take is that yes, you can have issues. You can have your vibration can be out of alignment. You can have anxiety and ailments, things, diseases, whatever, that can be a manifestation of the toxins in your body. But if you get those toxins cleared, you've done the detox, you're 100%, then you know that anything that happens to you is a result of a negative belief. So other than toxins, everything that can be wrong with you is a direct result of negative beliefs.
Right.
And yeah, so that definitely ties into it. It's important, especially for older people, to keep a clean vessel and to eat as organic as possible. Like try and eat things in the form that like nature put them, without
You're
doing
gonna live
too much.
to like 150, I think.
I'm sorry?
I think you're gonna live to 150 or so.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, I think going back to the idea of the cleansing thing. Even though I eat super super healthy, and like I said before, I catalog every single thing that I eat, mostly for my fitness. But it's very I'm passionate about what I put into my body. And after taking so many courses and then studying and becoming a nutritionist, I'm able to find what the things that we put into our body and how they affect us. Okay, so the idea that we've heard, I'm sure you've heard, you are what you eat, right? It's not it's not really that. What it really boils down to is you are what you absorb. Okay, so when you're not cleansed, when you have a bunch of junk inside of your body, which we all do from time to time, no matter how healthy you eat, your body isn't going to be able to absorb the other nutrition from the healthy food choices that you make. So by cleansing yourself, going on a fast, whether it's a citrus fast or a water fast or the product that you were just talking about, it's incredibly wise to take some time and really cleanse yourself and be free of that, because there's a lot of things that are holding us back, especially with the Food and Drug Administration, that we have, that the world has become today. And I touched a little bit on it last time about the dumbing down of the of society, keeping us in a low vibration with certain foods. By cleansing those things out and helping us to be freer and more healthy, we're able to absorb the other foods as well. Now it's funny for me because a lot of people might think you catalog everything you eat. Like, that's fucking psychotic. But, not for me. And, at first it was kind of tedious, but I just kept doing it more and more. Now it's just come second nature to me.
Oh, it's your
Like,
passion. It's not psychotic. It's just that
well,
brings
to
you joy
some,
to do that.
because
You're also kind of walking the walk. I mean, I know that at least when everyone that's trying to change their diet, like even my trainer at the gym said, I want you to write down everything you eat.
right.
So you have, if you
It
want,
puts it into perspective too.
Right. So there's something, it's really important that we touch on, when we're talking about, healthy food choices. There's a lot of quote unquote healthy foods, okay, that are not healthy. There's a lot of organic, free range, GMO free type foods that are not good for you at all. I mean,
Can you tell us any
really
examples of
look
those?
into it and really find out exactly what it is that you're eating. And that's why I choose to not eat anything out of a box. Like, when I go to the store, it's the food section, and that's it. I mean, there are some, protein supplements that I take, plant-based proteins, and they come in powder form, but that is like the most processed of anything that I would eat. So I'll never eat cereal or Pop-Tarts or frozen chicken nuggets or something like that. Like a lot of the stuff people eat, or especially when we go out to eat, even if we go out to eat at a nice restaurant, there's a lot of food there that we aren't quite sure of what is really in it. And it's important to know what we're putting into our body, because it absolutely does affect us in ways that we can't even
Like
understand or
you
know.
mean stuff like organic macaroni and cheese. It's in a box. It's
Yeah, exactly. Would
noodles.
never eat macaroni and cheese. Absolutely not.
what do you do at a restaurant?
Oh, I don't go to restaurants.
Okay.
But if I do, it would be like a vegan restaurant where they would be completely, what's the word?
Transparent.
Transparent with their menu items. Now, there are some places like that around here where I live in the Hamptons, where the menu items,
Wow.
they have a huge list of exactly what they are. And especially if I go to a health food restaurant, we have Provisions, Wild by Nature, Nature's Promise, and places like that where we can get, healthy foods where they're, like you just said, transparent with their ingredients. Now, ingredients is a very important thing that we look at too. When we're talking about food, the names of foods, it's not actually what we're eating, okay? So I'll just even take junk food, for example, like an Oreo cookie or a can of Coca-Cola. Or, like, Cheryl, you just brought up macaroni and cheese, like Kraft macaroni and cheese in a box, or even a healthier one, like some, organic macaroni and cheese. Those are just the names of those products, but it's not truly what it is. And what it is the ingredients list on the inside. So you can have a healthy food choice that you think you're making a healthy decision. You look at the ingredients, and it's filled with nitrates upon nitrates and all types of gums, like xanthan gum. And then
but it's organic nitrates.
That's right. Those are organic nitrates, so they don't hurt as much. And different types of sugar derivatives and different artificial flavors or colors or things that they used in the processing.
One thing that gets me too that nobody really talks about is how stuff like high fructose corn syrup is vegan.
Well, it's freaking poison.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have cursed.
It's okay.
Okay, so I'll just talk for a second. There's so this has been my experience. As a personal trainer and a fitness coach and nutritionist and stuff, I was dating a woman. She's a nutritionist as well, and she chose not to eat wheat, and she was gluten free, right? So I was eating wheat. I thought I was doing myself a solid by opting for whole wheat bread or whole wheat pasta, because I was taught if we're gonna we're gonna want to stay away from refined wheats or refined grains, and we're going to want to go with whole, okay? But that's not necessarily the case. The whole wheat bread and versus white bread, it's absolutely the same stuff now. They just don't make it the way that they used to. It's still full of the same type of thing. So the argument that I had was, she doesn't have celiacs, so why would she be eating gluten-free? And then it was like, I fell into the category of someone who was like, everyone's afraid to eat gluten-free now, when we've been eating gluten for years and years and years, and it never bothered us. And now all of a sudden everybody has an allergy to it and they don't want to eat it anymore.
Yeah, because it's actually not the same stuff that, like, the bread that Jesus broke back in the day. Bread itself the wheat has changed its biology over the years.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's marketed as something that it's not. It's all smoke and mirrors, like the bee would say. So check
And
it
it's putting toxins in your system in another way that's tying up your system, and it causes inflammation. So people that have any kind of pain, chronic pain, even when I cut out gluten, it helps me with my period cramps. People with arthritis, people with Crohn's disease, they really need to cut out gluten.
Absolutely. So for me, somebody who doesn't necessarily have a gluten allergy, right? I don't have celiac, so I don't have any other dietary restriction. So I thought it didn't matter if I ate it or not. She said, cut it out of your diet for a week or two and then see how you feel. So that's what I did. I made a commitment to not eat any wheat or any gluten. And, you know, a week later, I felt completely different. Like I was a whole different person. I felt lighter. My stomach felt better. My stomach felt flatter. I had more energy in the morning. I felt tired at night. I felt more focused. I had more brain function. When I exercised, I could perform better. I could execute moves better. I could go longer. My red blood cell function and red blood cell production were like on fire. And I was like, this is crazy. So it's not necessarily if we have an allergy to it or not, it still affects us. And just like you said, you know, gluten is glue. It binds us down. It stops us from absorbing the nutrients from the other foods that we eat, and it also causes inflammation. It's absolute poison. I do not eat bread. And and a weird thing, you know, when I see other people eating bread when I'm on the job site or something, and people are eating sandwiches, I'm like, oh my God, like, what are you, crazy? What are you doing?
See, this also goes into, see, one of the problems I have with eating like perfect, like you, and I probably will when I get my own, when I'm in control of all the food I eat. I do a lot of traveling. I do a lot of like staying with other people, and I like to entertain people and be entertained when they want me to go out to eat, or if somebody brings me food, or somebody slaves over a hot stove for hours and puts the food in front of me. I'm in a place like India. You don't say no to food. They will literally, they'll look at you like you're really rude if you do that. So,
Well,
but the
yeah.
problem is I don't just do it when I'm eating with other people, which I made the excuse. So I even started eating meat again, so I could, you know, not be that guy that, you know, says no and is all like prudish. But the problem is that once you make a little bit of excuses for it, then you find yourself doing it more and more. And so
I think ultimately what it boils down to is setting boundaries, you know, setting boundaries for yourself and being more aware of how you're going to feel with what you're putting into your body and what you're not. And giving in to temptation is another part of it as well. Now, when you said before, I eat perfect, you know, I don't think that I do eat perfect. There are times where I give in a little bit and it's just different. The way that I give in is different to the way other people give in. Like some people might want to have a piece of cake, right, at night. But for me, I'll probably have an apple outside of my allotted time limit. So,
oh my God, friend. Ansley, how do you deal with,
An apple.
Ansley,
But no,
how do
I
you
know what
deal
you
with
mean,
having
because like
kids
you're not
and
supposed to
trying
have
to,
fruit at night, right? Like it's better because I'm about ready to do a no flour, no sugar program. I think
Mhm.
I'm trying to talk myself into it again. And yeah, we were taught like it's like you're not supposed to really have the fruit at night. You're supposed to have it in the morning, right? Is that the philosophy behind occasionally splurging at night with an apple, or are apples like do you eat apples in the morning, or apples like usually off limits?
Well, there's a neat idea with the idea of fruit that different fruits have different attributes to them, like bananas versus apples. Some of them have more fiber than others. But what it really boils down to me is I thought that I would eat fruit after my workout because the when we take the sugar in from those types of fruits, we either convert it into glucose or fructose. And glucose restores the glycogen cells in our muscles, and fructose restores the glycogen cells in our liver. Our liver is significantly smaller because our muscles are all over our body. So I found that if I ate fruit, you know, after my exercise or after at night, you know, when I'm not as active, it's going to be a little, you know, detrimental because there will be an excess bit of sugar there that will be more um, able to be stored, right, instead of burned.
detrimental.
Well, yeah, so that's kind of the idea of that. It depends on what type of sugar you're going to be ingesting there. So when it comes to an apple, if I'm really in the mood for an apple and it's not the time, then I'll have an apple.
You gotta listen to your body, because your body knows more about what's going on with it than your mind. This is also what Bashar says. Listen to your body. If it wants, if that chicken smells really good, then it might be that it's going to serve you in a more positive way to eat that right now than to keep being vegan or whatever. Because we don't know everything. We can't. This is my take on it. I do, however, really wish that I could at least put nothing but 100% organic in my body. Because you're trying to, if you look at Trent's picture, you can see the way his body looks. So his diet it's a healthy diet, but it's also to tweak that to get that image. So if you eat like Trent, you're going to look like Trent. If you want to look like Trent, eat like Trent, and I definitely want to look like you. But at the same time, I'm a little bit more for listening to my body and being more cooperative and hospitable around company right now. I think in the future that might change. I really would like to have the workout regimen and, all that going on too. So.
Right. I acknowledge what you're saying. I feel like, though, if you eat exactly the things that I eat, it might not give you the same results, because, like we were talking about, diet and nutrition and exercise, they really go hand in hand. So a lot of times what I eat, okay, is based on what types of exercises I will be doing that day or the day before or later in the week, or what my training schedule would be like. So by pairing those types of items together, those two worlds together, is what helps me get the results that I'm looking for. And also, like you said too, it's the way that I look. I feel great and I love the way that I look, but it's more about how I feel. And that's really how I come to the conclusion of being able to not give in to temptation, because I remember how I used to feel when I ate foods that I thought I wanted, but I truly didn't. When we have types of things in our body that tell us we need these things, like whether it's a sugar that we get addicted to very, very quickly, with like one sip of soda, we get totally berserkowitz, and we feel like we need certain things. But then we smell certain foods, and then something clicks on and we have a craving for it. It's not truly that thing that we're craving. So for example, I just made a huge video on it recently about foods that we might be craving. If we take a look at those cravings, we can identify which nutrient that our body is actually craving. And that will guide us to making a healthy food choice and giving us the exact food that we want. So if we're craving something like cake or chicken or ice cream or carrots or apples, there's usually a nutrition aspect to it that our body is actually craving, but we're interpreting it as something that we're familiar with, something that's going to taste good, something that's going to make.
Like for instance, whenever I was a vegetarian, my boyfriend at the time was always telling me like this world was made to consume itself, because I just did it to be nice to the animals. But I happened to be working at a place that served a lot of chicken, and I was walking and this chicken smell hit me in the face one day, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to eat a piece of chicken. And I did. Mm-hmm. And I found that it served me. And then there's another thing I wanted to say. In Ayurveda, they say, you're not used to salt. So what you do is, to get yourself used to salt, eat something that's way too freaking salty one day. And then the next time you have food, salt it a little bit, taste it. If that's not enough, salt it another. And once it tastes perfect, that's the amount of salt that your particular body needs, because everybody is different. So I don't know. Just wanted to add that.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I love my food so much. Well, I have really low blood pressure, like really low blood pressure. I mean, my heart beats like once.
Once a day.
Like, goof, goof, and like blood is just like all over. So people with high blood pressure, really shouldn't indulge in too much salt, because that could lead to, hypertrophy, or different ailments, and then there's also the idea of diabetes. People associate that with sugar. but salt is a big contributor to that as well. Either way, cleansing is super important because absorbing the other healthy foods that we eat, and it's important to keep an idea of the ingredients. So if my number one tip, for all the listeners out there, by keeping track of what you eat, it's also keeping, awareness of what exactly it is that you're putting into your body. So next time you have a piece of food that's coming out of a bag or a box and it has a neat name and it tastes good and you think it makes you feel good, look at the ingredients, because the ingredients are what you're eating. You're not eating cheese doodles. You're eating a whole bunch of chemicals, and the same thing goes for soda. Same thing goes for, you think you're eating healthy. You think you're eating, Mott's apple juice in a container. That's not really what you're eating. You're eating pasteurized, concentrate.
Or what about milk?
I absolutely love milk, but after committing to a vegan diet, I do not drink milk anymore. But the people that I write nutrition guides for, I do encourage them to drink milk. I believe.
But what about the milk? You can buy organic milk that doesn't have all those chemicals in it.
That's right. There is milk, and I believe milk is a fantastic, healthy thing. You can buy fat-free milk, and it's high in protein. It's good in calcium. It's good in vitamin A, vitamin D, relatively low carbohydrate. And milk is great. And some people might argue and be like, it's not for people. It's for baby cows. But whatever.
But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to eating healthy, there's milk that's a few dollars more that's organic. There's cheese that's like $1 more that's organic. So if you're going to eat bad stuff, at least buy the organic. Yeah, Ansley?
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, you're vegan or like mostly vegan, you said? Like, you're vegetarian?
Me? No.
Yeah.
I my husband is vegan.
Okay.
One of my children is vegan. The 2-year-old is vegan. But my daughter and I don't eat that much meat and dairy because of just the household, but yeah, I do. I definitely eat meat and dairy. My big goal right now is I'm trying to cut out flour and sugar, and that's a really big change for me. And then
those are the big ones, really.
Maybe I will try vegan, but I don't know. It makes sense. Like, it really does make sense, because it's like I really. It's one thing to know it in theory. Like they always say when you go to the store, everything you need it's on the perimeter of the store. It's not in the aisles. The aisles are where the things are in boxes and bags, and that
dry beans I think are okay. But dry beans and rice, maybe those are the only things like in the middle of the store that I try to buy.
Yeah, I eat a lot of beans. All types of legumes. I eat white beans, kidney beans, dark kidney beans, black beans. I eat chickpeas. I eat, legumes. I also eat a lot of nuts. I eat almonds, pecans, walnuts, pecans, depending on what part of the country you're from.
Pecans. Oh, another thing I would like to say that, like, we kind of jumped into this, just because I know what you've told me before, Trent, and just some of the stuff that I've looked into is that in order to look like Trent, it's not just about working out. Yes, he works out, but only 45 minutes a day, or
something like that.
It's about the food that you are consuming. That is equal, probably, if not more,
water
to the workout.
How much water do you drink a day, Trent?
Okay, so the idea here on water, I drink over a gallon of water every day, and some people might think that's a lot, but that's kind of like an average amount. What you're going to want to do is have your body weight in ounces, I think times 2 or so. I forgot what the ratio is. I just wrote a little blog about it recently. I opt to drink a gallon of water because I weigh about 200 pounds, and when I was doing the math, a gallon of water was more or less right on target, So this is the idea of that. All the components we have inside of our body for filtering and digesting and absorbing all the food that we eat have to be properly hydrated. I'm sure you've also heard that our bodies are like some crazy, we're like 70% water. We're like physical water beings. We're spiritual beings in a water balloon, in a water balloon, right? So when our body is not fully hydrated, it's not working to its full potential at all. So when I started drinking, a gallon of water, this was an amazing thing that happened. Fat started to shred off of me. For all of our listeners too, Charles has said a couple times so far tonight that I'm in, really good shape, but that wasn't the case my whole entire life. I've only been in really good shape for the past couple of years. I was severely out of shape my whole entire life. I mean, really overweight. I weighed 280 pounds at one point.
Wow.
Let's see.
I didn't know that.
I had fat rolls under my neck and my lower back and my shoulders, and I had skinny little arms.
We'll post your before and after pictures so everybody can see.
Right.
Now I'll put it up.
So what was I saying? About when I started to drink that much water, it was a challenge because I peed a lot. I peed like all day, constantly, and it was kind of discouraging to do, and it was really hard to drink that much water. But I found that the fat really just started to melt off and my belly got flatter, because there was a lot of things that was binding up inside of me. I wasn't able to release a lot of the toxins, a lot of the food, a lot of the stuff that was getting all caught up inside of us, right? So it started to melt off. And also it helped so many other areas. My hair and my skin and my nails and my eyes all got whiter and brighter and stronger and fluffier. And again, I started to be more active in the morning. I was more awake earlier in the morning, and at nighttime, I was tired and I was ready to go to sleep at a reasonable hour, and I was able to get a good amount of rest. I was able to, it promotes, restful sleep. I wasn't just sleeping, I was having really deep, good sleep. And water is like the elixir of life. Like, it is so important to have a lot of water. So for me, absolutely, I recommend drink a gallon of water every day. And if you can't, just fight to do it, and in time you'll be able to. And now I drink a gallon of water before lunch.
Do you drink alkaline water or distilled water, or what kind of water do you drink?
I would prefer to drink a reverse osmosis filtered water, but a lot of times when I'm at a job or somewhere where I can't get it, I just drink it out of the well. So when I buy water, I don't normally buy distilled, but there's certain brands that have electrolyte enhanced water, which we can choose. But I think what it really boils down to, if you're going to buy water, if you're going to go to the store and buy water, buy one that tastes good to you, because there are many different brands, many different kinds, and they really do taste different. That's a huge thing. So if you're going to embark on this part of your journey, and this is for the listeners too, especially, if you're thinking of really getting the benefits of being fully hydrated and feeling good and looking good and feeling good about how you look, muscling down water that doesn't taste good to you and feels like you're drinking a brick, make sure you get a water that tastes good. Make sure you get a water that you're able to drink that much of, because if you're going to buy Deer Park or Poland Spring and it doesn't taste good to you and it feels like you're drinking like a brick, you're not going to want to continue. So find a water that's best for you, and you got to take it on a case-by-case basis.
I love alkaline water. I try to get that when I can, and if it's not available, distilled water. But yeah, I'm guilty of going through periods where I don't drink enough water. So it's always a good reminder. Just drink a gallon a day, whatever it is. It's better to drink like any water than no water.
Right.
In a pinch, I think sometimes when people might have a preference, like in my case, it's like I love alkaline and distilled water, and if I have to buy water, I always like to get foreign bottled water, like Fiji or Evian.
Yeah.
Or like I like spring water too, like the Mountain Valley spring water, and the green bottles is really good. And by the way, I'll say this for the listeners, sometimes people think that they're hydrating themselves because they're drinking sparkling water or they're drinking juice. but it's not. It has to be water. It's if you really want to be well hydrated, it's got to be a gallon of water a day, and then whatever else you're adding on to that. Like some people just have to have their coffee or whatnot. That's an add-on.
Yeah, you're totally right. Absolutely right. Yeah, so water has been a big part of my journey for sure, and I drink water every day. And like I said before, water is like my absolute number one tip to weight loss and feeling good. It's an absolute must. Absolute must.
Right, especially upon awakening, and so many, like, this one woman told me, she said like 70% of people's health problems is related to not drinking enough water. Like, I mean, that's kind of a generic thing, but it really drove home a point to me. And then, you know, I did breastfeed both my kids, and so you have to drink a lot of water for that. And so I was just drinking so much water, and you know, you're supposed to be and it wasn't even special water of any kind. It was just, you know, it was just basic water. And you know, you're supposed to be tired when you've just given birth, and you're supposed to be in pain. And you know, so I had all those sleep deprived, I had all that, but because I was drinking all that water, I looked great, I felt great, and I realized, oh my God, is the problem my whole life been like I didn't drink enough water? Like, is it really that simple that I just was dehydrated my whole life? Like, I felt like such a different person drinking all that water, and it took something extreme like having to like feed a baby to figure that out.
Yeah, that's super important.
Yeah, it's a great first step. And then, I mean, and I guess that's the thing too, is, I mean, Trent, did you make a lot of these changes gradually, or how did all that look? Because I mean, I'm looking to get more healthy. I'm really looking to focus on the body aspect of everything. That's kind of what 2019 is about for me. So I'm just trying to make, you know, one change at a time, not make too many changes. How did that look for you?
Well, for me, it was a little bit different. I wanted to do everything I could right at the beginning, but the truth would be that it was an adjustment, you know, my whole journey. So everything that I do now and know now, I didn't start doing all at once. But if I knew all of the things that I know now, I would have. So the idea of my diet, my exercise, my water intake, the idea that we're only as healthy as our guts, we're only as healthy as what we absorb. When it's not necessarily what we eat, it's what we, you know, utilize. I wish that I knew all this stuff at one point, and then I would have incorporated it all at once. But to be honest, no, I did one part at a time. So the first part for me was my exercise. I didn't know how to exercise. I went to the gym, but I didn't really know how to use the machines. And I went to the GNC, the General Nutrition Center, and I would buy diet pills, like called fat incinerators or fat burners and stuff like that. And I would spend all the money that I had on these things because on the packages, you know, there was a promise that you would lose weight if you took these pills. So I would use a little bit of money that I had, and I would spend it on these handfuls of pills that I would eat. And they didn't really do much. It just made me feel jittery. But because they said I would lose weight, I would buy them anyway. And I'd continue to do that. It was only when I was at I was at the barber shop ready to get my hair cut, and I was waiting, and there was a magazine I was reading, and in the back of the magazine there was an ad for this thing called the P90X, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it maybe was like a machine you buy and you like put it in your living room. It said it was an in-home workout program, and I thought it was maybe like a machine you buy and you like put it in the living room and you work out with it, like do lat pull downs or push ups on it or something. Where I thought maybe it was a bunch of juices and pills that you ate. I didn't know what it was, but for some reason the ad really like stuck out to me. So I asked the woman who was cutting hair if I could use a pen, and I wrote P90X on my hand. And then I later went home to go research it and see what it was. I went onto the computer and typed in P90X, and I found out what it was. It was just a compilation of DVDs that you put in the DVD player at your house, and there's trainers on it, or one trainer in particular, and they just talk you through a workout. And each day there's a workout for that day, and you just follow along. And it comes with a diet guide, and it comes with a fitness guide, a nutrition plan, and all the little booklets that come with it. And all you do is you pop in a DVD and you work out, and you just do what they say. And that was the beginning for me. So it was got the P90X stands for 90 days, Power 90 Extreme, and 90 days I had a whole new body. It was totally wild. That was the catalyst to my new life. And one of the things it said in the magazine on that ad, it said it'll change your life. And I thought, well, I doubt it will change my life, but maybe it'll help me lose weight. I don't know. And then there was a time, coming up on the end of my 90 days where I shedded all types of fat, and I gained muscle. I had big shoulders. My waist was gone. I had that V tape that all guys want and all women want. And I had all that stuff happening. And I was very excited about it. And I took a look around my apartment there, and I had like subscription to Muscle Fitness magazine, and I had protein cans everywhere. And I took a look at my phone and had all these messages and texts and emails from people around that were seeing me around town. They wanted to know what I was doing to get in such great shape. They wanted tips and advice, and for me to talk to them and tell them more. And then I, realized, hey, my life is completely changed. Fitness and nutrition is my passion.
Wow.
What I love. I love everything about it. And I love helping people and helping them, feel good about themselves to gain, the confidence that they, truly have or truly believe they don't have, but to help them be more of themselves, to be more healthy. And that was it, the P90X. It's just weightlifting 101. And the thing about it, it wasn't a big machine. The transformation that I got, I changed my body 100%. I just had a little pair of dumbbells and a little pull-up bar up in the doorway. That's it. My body was all calisthenics. Like I used my own body weight for all that stuff. I didn't have to go to the gym. I didn't have to pay for gym memberships. I didn't have to get in the car and wait in traffic. I didn't have to go wait online for someone to use a weight machine at the gym. I didn't have to figure it out on my own. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to put the DVD in and follow along. All the step work and all the footwork was already done. They just, the promise was that it'll change your body if you do what it says. And after being an AA, and doing step work and working with my sponsor and, helping other young men on the path to sobriety, following directions and taking, what is it called? Advice.
Direction?
Yeah. It was something that I was engaged in already for a few years. So it worked out for me. Now the P90X, it's challenging, but it's also easy. Anybody can do a bicep curl with a couple of dumbbells. And if it's too hard, you reduce the weight. It's just a matter of staying consistent and actually doing it. So a lot of people have this idea, the P90X, I can't do that. It's going to be way too tough. It's going to, destroy me. It's not. You just have to be consistent and do what you can. You just do your best, and you'll get better each time. When I first started, the idea was to, the first workout of the P90X was chest and back. We just do a series of, standard push-ups, and then we don't really rest. While we rest our chest, we do pull-ups. We go to the pull-up bar. And then we go back to chest, and back to pull-ups, back to chest, back to pull-ups, and then 50 minutes later, you're done. You just do that in different variations, different forms, targeting different muscles, challenging your body, confusing your muscles, confusing your body, and amplifying growth and shocking your body by doing the best that you can. So when I had to go do pull-ups, I couldn't do any. I went and I grabbed the pull-up bar, and I tried as hard as I could, and I got one. I got my chin up above the bar once, and then I just hung there. And all the other people on this DVD, they were doing all these pull-ups and just going along and doing it, and I was just hanging there, like, oh my! And it was hard because I was like, I suck. I'm not good at this. It is too challenging for me. But I just wrote down that I did one. I did one pull-up, and then every other time I had to hit the bar in that exercise, I would just hang. And that's what I wrote down. I wrote down, I did one, and then I hung for 30 seconds, 50 seconds. But then the next week, we did that exercise again. It was the next Monday, chest and back again. And because all the other exercises are tied in together, even though I wasn't doing pull-ups, I was still strengthening those muscles. I was getting my body more acclimated to the motion and setting the foundation to execute those moves properly. Guess what? I did 2 pull-ups. And then, fast forward a couple of weeks, I'm doing over 150 pull-ups in less than an hour.
Whoa. 150?
Yes.
Wow.
I go for 20 to 30 pull-ups, right? And we hit the pull-up bar like 9 times in that workout. So it's almost 200 pull-ups. Now listen, at that stage when I was doing, I was fatigued, I was tired, I was cursing and screaming and kicking and kipping. My pull-ups were really shit form, but I was doing the best that I could. But either way, I got really good results by doing that. And that was the catalyst for that. It was the P90X that really started out. And since then, becoming a Beachbody coach by, starting my own business and coaching other people to work through these programs like P90X. There's been many other ones like Body Beast or Insanity or 21 Day Fix. There's many, many different kinds geared for many different types of people and many different types of results. There's really no excuse for anybody when it comes to an in-home program because there's tailored for any type of different result or schedule. There are some workouts that are 20 minutes long and people have changed their lives and changed their bodies with just that amount of time. And, the company is called Beachbody. So by working with Beachbody, becoming a Beachbody coach, I am like a product of the product. So it's kind of a neat thing where I don't have to go really out and like try to get people to work with me. They see me and they want what I have. They can sense it. They can sense the confidence. They can sense that I have, this body. They can sense that I've made this change. They can sense that I push forward and they sense that I do this and they ask for help and they want to know what I did. So what do? I just tell them what I did. Now I don't sell the P90X. I just recommend it because that's what I do and that's what works. I've done a lot of things that work and I've done a lot of things that don't work. And I just recommend to people what best fits them. And then when they start on a P90X or a Body Beast or 21 Day Fix or Insanity, whatever program, I'm there to help them and guide them through. Because even though I said it was easy, it's still a challenge. It's very, very challenging.
Yeah.
Like if we get off work.
I want you to be my Beachbody coach. I was on Beachbody. But I want you as my coach. I don't know how you can switch, but yeah, Beachbody, it does work. It really does.
All right. Well, normally, I mean, a lot of people do that. A lot of people come to me and say that, I have a coach, we want to switch. I don't recommend anybody ever switch unless the relationship you have with your coach is like non-existent, then perhaps, but I usually
it's non-existent and she doesn't like me and she's been, it just isn't working.
Yeah. Because
let me put it to you this way. I haven't spoken to her in about 3 years.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then. I mean, because, there are people that have come to me and they're like, oh, I don't want you to be my coach. And I say no. Like, give your coach a chance. Deal with that. Like, if there's something they have that you want, you have to listen to them and follow through with what they say. And there's also been people that I've, had signed me up as their coach and we've been working together. I tell them to go have someone else coach them because I can't do what they want. For example, there was a young girl who I was helping just recently. And I know of another coach that, I communicate with, and I know that this other woman can help this girl better than I can. So I recommended someone that I was coaching to do a coach switch for someone else. I mean, it's not really about, making the money. It's really about just like helping. And the way I see it, all of us Beachbody coaches, we're all on the same team. That's why it's called Team Beachbody. And the president of it, the guy who made all of this work, the guy who made all of it happen, his name is Carl Deichler. He's like a revolutionary. He's just changing the world, I think. So I just, I just do the programs and help people do them.
Yeah, it's good. The workouts do work, and
Sure.
It's true. I mean, every year he comes out with something that like could appeal to more and more people.
Oh yeah, sure.
Different levels of working out. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's a lot of stuff. There's beginner programs, advanced programs. But I really find that what it boils down to is you can start with any program and just do your best, and you'll get what they promise as long as you stay consistent. And what I was going to say before, there are days where I don't want to exercise. There's days where I'm tired. Like I get off work and I train outside. Like I said, I don't go to the gym. I have all my equipment and stuff in the garage. It's freezing out here in New York. It could be hail and snow and dark and cold and windy. And I've been outside all day working, and I get home and I got to take my pre-workout supplement and put on my clothes. And I got to go out there and do it. And I don't want to, but I stay consistent and I do it. Now, out of 1,000 people who bought the P90X, maybe only a handful, maybe a little over 10 people have gotten results like I did, because they don't commit.
This goes hand in hand with AA, like when you want to stay off drugs or if you want to quit smoking, something kind of snaps in your mind. Like when I quit smoking cigarettes, I quit cold turkey.
Yeah.
I never went back. I couldn't go back. Just something in me snapped. And I had said to myself, like, how can you be a yoga teacher and smoke cigarettes? Like you just, I mean, this is just ridiculous. And the more yoga I did, of course, the less I even enjoyed cigarettes. Breathing is like, the whole thing about yoga, about meditation yoga anyways. And so when it comes to making that change and sticking with the regimen and doing what needs to do, what was it about that? Can you help to kind of define what happens in a person when you just had?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it was desperation. It was the gift of desperation, the gift of wanting to change so much that going on the way we were is so painful that we need a change, and we'll stop at nothing to make that happen. When I was drinking so much, the only person that would be able to help me stop drinking was myself. Remember how I felt when I drank, when my life became unmanageable. When I would go to the beach, I live here in the Hamptons, and I used to go to the beach, right? And you'd find me in the water with my shirt on in the water because I was ashamed. I was ashamed of my body. I wasn't an accurate reflection of who I truly was. Something wasn't in alignment. I felt like I was so much more, but I didn't look like it. I looked like I wasn't me. I didn't feel like me. And I thought I like accepted it for a while. Like for years, I thought it's just in my genes. Maybe my parents were overweight. I don't really know my father, but I thought maybe they were overweight and I'm just destined to be looking like that. I thought it's just the way it is. Like when I said before, I went to the gym, but I didn't know how to use the machines. I didn't get any results. I tried everything I thought that I could, but nothing was yielding. And it was only when I was really able to be totally at rock bottom with those emotions where I was able to finally make the change. So it goes hand in hand with fitness and, with drinking. And people text me and email me and they say, thank you so much for helping me. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking your time. Thank you for this and that. And I always say the same thing to them. I say, you don't have to thank me. Thank yourself, because you're the one doing the work. You're the one that's taking full responsibility for your results. I'm just guiding you and showing you. You're the one that's doing it. I can't give anybody I can't give someone motivation. They have to have it within themselves. I can just inspire them to be motivated. But they have to act on that.
Let me interrupt you. I want to bring this back to spirituality with this right now, because I was remembering when I quit smoking, when I, stopped being a pothead and all that. What maybe less with that one, because that was my real addiction. With cigarettes, I kept doing I won't buy a pack, I'll just bum off someone. And even though I was only smoking 2 cigarettes a day, I was still a smoker. I still had to have one when I got off work. But when I was in that place where I remembered when I was feeling just like crap, right? About I'm a smoker. I'm trying to be a teacher, a guide to others, and I can't get off this crutch. And I would feel down on myself. Like, there I go again. I did it again. And so a lot of it comes in remembering how you feel then when you want that cigarette.
Right.
And hearing your voice say that and feeling what you want. No, I want to be a healthy person. I want to be able to go deeper in my meditation. I want to be able to be an inspiration for others. I don't want to have to worry about my health. I don't want to have to hurt when I do detoxes. And so it also ties in with mindfulness, being able to do what you need to do when you need to do it, and remembering in that moment, retrieving your true self. So it's actually having more awareness itself. So you must have risen your vibration to be able to say, I don't want that beer. I don't want that burger. I don't want that greasy processed whatever. I'm ready to do this now.
Right. So, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And I think what it really boils down to is, like Bashar would say, it's a case by case basis. And ultimately what it boils down to is if you want it enough. Because a lot of us, we think we want it. We think we want to get in good shape. We get excited at the idea of feeling healthier, looking healthier, being healthier. But then temptation kicks in and we lose track of what we had set out for in our mind, and we give in. And that just means that we thought we wanted it, but we just didn't want it enough. So what I meant by desperation as a gift is where we've had enough and we're destined to make this change at whatever cost and just do our best, whatever it is. Now, when I stopped drinking, I was at that point, I was homeless, and I was bouncing back and forth from this homeless shelter. They would take me in sometimes when I wasn't drunk, and I wanted to sleep there. And they said I had to go to this meeting down the hill. There's a place here in New York called Port Jeff. Down the hill was a meeting at this Catholic charity. It was called Hope House, was the name of this meeting. And I couldn't stop drinking. I couldn't even think about stopping drinking. But one of the things they say is just for today, just for today, just for today. And that's what we had to tell ourselves. But I couldn't do it in a whole day. Like, that was insane to me. So I walked down, this was a big thing. I walked down to that meeting and I walked past the homeless shelter and I thought, all right, I'm not going to drink just until I get to that sign, that stop sign at the road. And I walked up to it. I was like, just until I get to the edge of that building, I'm not going to drink. And then I thought, just until I get to the edge of that street, I'm not going to drink. And I had to do it in the second, not just for today, just for the moment. And then I got to the meeting and I was like, all right, I'm going to go in and I'm going to sit down and then I'll drink. So I went in and I'll sit down, and I sat and I said, all right, I'm just going to wait for the readings, because we read the preamble and the, if it's a tradition meeting, we read the traditions or whatever. So I was going to sit and listen to the readings. I was like, just for the readings. And then the speaker started, and I was like, all right, I'll just listen to the speaker. And then I was like, all right, I'll just stay after, and I'll just talk a little bit after, then I'll drink. And I just kept it like that. So I really couldn't hold it. I couldn't keep it in mind for the whole day. I had to compartmentalize it and break it down into each moment. That's how insidious drinking was for me. I wasn't able to think that far in the future because I would be overwhelmed. Look back now, that's like almost 15 years ago since my last drink.
See, for me, it was more like, it was so weird because I had moved from America to England, and I was actually, the guy I was dating didn't know I smoked. So
he's like, why do you smell so fucked up? Oh, I cursed. Shit, sorry.
Okay. We'll get used to the no cursing thing. No, it was like it never happened. Because it was such a severe change. So, it was like I jumped into another being. I was probably having the physical symptoms. And I did a detox. I did a cleanse. I did a cleanse right when I quit smoking. That's a big one. If you do a cleanse, when you want to make a big change and you want to stop doing something, or you want to start implementing something, do the detox and your body will stop begging for that burger or...
Yeah, that's really insightful. Totally.
Yes, Bashar has said this. When you get the toxins out, your cells aren't screaming for it because they're not using it. You've just kind of tricked your body in a way.
Totally. That's like fucking, oh, damn, I'm sorry, I did it again. That's like alchemy. That's like physical alchemy.
It'll be okay. Yeah, and it was weird. It was like all of a sudden I had a different past. It's
Wow.
like, and this is what Bashar says is the 13th step is you've just become a whole new person with a completely different past. You never were that.
Wow. Yeah. Ansley, you struggled with a little bit of alcoholism and you overcame too, correct?
Um, yeah, I, I decided to, stop drinking in 2010, I guess it was. I just, it took me like 10 months, and I kind of felt like, I wasn't getting a solution, and then, um, it's funny, I know we talk a lot about beliefs on this show, and, I even love what you said, Cheryl, about, Bashar saying, okay, like, you get over something and then you realize you never were that. I love that. And, yeah, I mean, for me, the thing that has really helped me with, just a lot of different things has just been, just, like, writing out my, like, my beliefs every day, but it's like I don't write, oh, I believe this and I believe that. It's more like I have fear. Like I have fear I can't, like if I was gonna do one right now, I'd be like, I have fear I can't, I can't stop with the flour and sugar. I have fear I don't need to stop with the flour and sugar. I have fear I do need to stop with the flour and sugar. And then just like look like, even if I was gonna do one now, I'm resentful at this person, I resentful at them because I have fear they disrespected me. I have fear of being betrayed. I have fear I was betrayed. I don't really know if I was betrayed, but I have fear I was betrayed. And, that's how I started to really dismantle my beliefs and see like why I was prone to, needing to drink. And then, immediately go into meditation. I would say that meditation and just honesty, like being able to be who I really was so attractive to me that I just found it, I could get my experience and I definitely, that's what got me totally sober, and then it was just carving out other things like getting the power to do the beach body workouts when I was doing those, and getting the power to put down processed food or whatever, just being able to get my experience with everything. But yeah,
I also want to add that, alcohol is really damaging to our body. There's a lot of people that can be like, I can be a yogi, I can be a spiritual adept and still drink like every other day or on the weekends. And I just want to say that it's really with alcohol. Yeah. Okay. Every now and then, if you've never been an alcoholic, whatever, you'll, and here's the thing, you will feel it. Every time I've drank in the past few years, which hasn't been much because alcohol really isn't my thing, and I'll do like one glass of red wine. And now it's a little bit, I haven't even tried drinking for a while, but my meditation is really great now. Whereas when I first started to try to implement meditation and get the effects of meditation, and I could feel what my energy was doing, the activated Kundalini, if I had drank even one glass of red wine the day before, it wasn't happening. So I can definitely feel the direct results of alcohol in my blood. And there's been one master that I really revere called Yogananda that says that alcohol pokes holes in your aura. It can invite energetic leeches. And, of course, we know that those are also a result of beliefs. But either way, It's just really not the same as like smoking a spliff every now and then. Of course, being a pothead is definitely not advised, but doing that every now and then, every month or so, can have the positive effects. Whereas alcohol, although everything can have a positive effect, it's not going to be the same with alcohol. I firmly believe that it is poison. It is bad for you in a lot of ways. It doesn't put you into an altered state that gives you the revelations that our plant helpers will do. It's not natural. So a lot of people try to make excuses for it. It's time to look at that a little bit deeper. As I've said, maybe on the holidays or when you're at a gathering of some sort, every like so few and like once a year or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to really
No, I
emphasize.
completely agree. I feel like if we were to drink alcohol, it's almost like a cloud. Not only clouds our judgment, but clouds our perception. It puts like a barrier up between us and, you know, the spiritual realm, which is all around us and like in us. But it allows us to not necessarily perceive the things that are around, I think. It's almost
Yeah.
like a dumbing down effect.
Yeah, it's not the
Right.
same.
It kind of brings you into the third dimension more, I think, and it becomes a little harder to really, because the spiritual life, I do think it's about feeling. It's not about seeing. A lot of it is, yes, it is about seeing too, but it's also about feeling, and it's about, sometimes you have to really like feel uncomfortable. You know, I was at a 2-day seminar over the weekend, and there were a lot of people around, and there was a lot going on, and I had a lot of, you know, negative beliefs. I would say not a lot, but I had some negative beliefs come up, and you know, it might have been a little bit of that performance anxiety, social anxiety, but rather than, you know, popping a pill or drinking or whatever, I just had to kind of like face those beliefs and face those feelings head on and let them wash over me, and, you know, get to the other side of them. So I definitely think that it's sort of a shortcut where
It's not even a
it is the
shortcut.
world's oldest. Yeah.
It's total avoidance is what it is. Yeah, you might feel a little better when you're drunk. That's because you can't even see your negative beliefs. Negative beliefs exist on a higher dimension. You have to raise your vibration to be able to see that. That's why a lot of times when people are healing, they say it gets worse before it gets better. The negative beliefs will bite down. That's because you can't get up there while still having those negative beliefs. So it's time to deal with them. But whereas you are trying to perform, when people drink a little bit of alcohol and then they get out there and do it, you're not going to have the same quality, because Ansley's an actress and a play director and all this. Definitely being clear while doing that is going to make you do your best. And facing your fears is going to also be a healing experience, whereas drinking, you're just avoiding it. Sure, you might feel better. You're fine. But that's not healing.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, one of the things, I know we don't cuss on this show, and I won't cuss, but you know, one of the things that I learned through the whole sobriety process, and I have to remind myself of it, and I try to remind other people of it, is like effed up is good, you know, because it's like exactly what you're saying, Cheryl, is like sometimes you don't even, like, it's actually a lot of power, and it's a lot of expansion of consciousness when, you know, you do feel really bad sometimes, because it's like that's really the only way we ever change anyway, is like pain promotes growth, and some people have to have something really, really bad happen to them just to feel that. But like if you're sensitive, it could just be like, ooh, I had gluten today, like I never want to feel that again. Okay, next. Like, not gonna, you know, some people it's like it takes like a death in the family for them to even realize they have all these negative beliefs and get in that heightened state. But it's actually a gift. It is a gift to, you know, like feel almost like really bad. Like, and I have to remember that when it does happen, like, oh my God, I'm shedding a belief. I'm literally like giving birth to a new version of myself right now.
That's why what I talk about a lot with my clients is that letting go of a negative belief is a 3-part process. And the first part is you can't let go of something you don't realize you're holding on to. So you need to feel that pain. No matter how bad it is, let it sink in. Oh, let it jolt you. Let you become a beacon for that pain. Let it resonate throughout your body, and it'll hurt. But you can't let go of something you don't realize you're even hanging on to. Then the next part of the process is by asking the golden question: what must I believe is true to be getting this big ow feeling? And so once you let it sink in, now you've got it. Now you can look at it. And then after you ask that, you'll realize what the negative belief is. You can either ask, what's so bad about that? What am I afraid of? Or what must I be believing is true to be getting that feeling? And then the third part of the negative belief, of letting go of a negative belief, is giving yourself the positive contrast. Well, I must be worthy because I exist, and the universe doesn't make mistakes. So if I exist, that means I am 100% totally worthy. The universe needs all that is, needs me to be all that is. It wouldn't be all that is. It would only be part.
Right.
That's such a big belief that people struggle with is like not feeling worthy in some way. The big one.
Totally.
Definitely. So, yeah, another thing I just took a couple notes of some things I wanted to talk about also about health and fitness is, your cells are literally addicted to these negative things. Your brain, as you feel good when you're doing these negative things, your brain starts to create more peptide sequences for that negative feeling, because your hypothalamus in your brain, it creates the proteins for the elastins in your skin. It also creates all the feelings, even hunger, even I need to smoke one more joint or one more cigarette, compulsively all day, every day, or I need to drink that drink. And so your cells are addicted to all these things. So when you keep perpetuating it by allowing it to happen and doing it, not stopping it, not having the awareness of it, your cells are going to be screaming for, I'm hungry, I want fried foods, I'm hungry all day. So it's just another reason why the detoxing is good. And just more awareness, more mindfulness, more telling yourself how you really feel, which is that you want to be a better person, you want to be healthier, you want to live longer, you want to be there more for your family and, just your future, your whatever it is you want to manifest. You start putting more of that in your brain, and you'll have less of these addictive things. And detoxing, pulling the toxins out of your cells, is also going to help as well. So
Wow.
And then another one I wanted to add is the detox that Bashar recommends, the MSM vitamin C in large doses. 3,000 milligrams of MSM and vitamin C each, 3,000 milligrams each, 3 times a day for 2 months. And this is, like the diet I have. I like to be hospitable. I'm not going to say no to a meal that somebody else cooked for me. People invite me out to a restaurant, I'm going to eat there. So somebody like me, definitely once a year for a couple months needs to stay on this, or once a year I need to do the Dr. Scholl's and then try my hardest to eat organic when I do eat on my own. Because when you're completely clean, your body will actually drink toxins faster. It's kind of unfortunate. Just like putting completely pure water in a plastic container, the water is going to absorb even more of that.
Right.
Whatchamacallit. So, yeah, if anybody else wants to add anything to that.
Yeah. It's all, valid, points. And I hope that our listeners are able to, hear this, and maybe it'll spark some ideas for them to search for, these principles that they can instill into their lives to be healthier and happier and, look good, feel good, and, feel good with how they look.
We wanted to talk more about meditation on this one, but I think maybe like We're going to talk more about meditation, of course, and how that ties in with all of this, probably in the next show coming up soon. But yeah, we've covered a lot of the, you know, foods and exercise and all that, and when it comes to health and fitness. But being a spiritual adept, most of us are focused on our health. And some people actually say, oh, well, I can just believe my way past needing to eat healthy. As long as I have good thoughts, then I don't need to actually make sure that I am free of toxins. And I just want to say that, you know, this universe it's all just a permission slip. Rather than trying to undo the laws of the universe with your mental power, using the permission slip of just eating better is going to be a lot more accurate, and you're going to get the results you want a lot better.
Now, I think there's a lot of people, and I know I fell into this category too, where it was like, you talked a lot about before about eating organic. Now, some people, myself included in the past, say, oh, I'd love to eat only organic, but I can't afford it. Now, the idea there is, you know, by eating healthier foods, especially when it comes to organic foods, is it's not that you can't afford it. It's just like, we can't afford not to, because the doctor bills are going to cost way more than the healthy food choices that we make. You know, and especially when it comes down to, you know, cleansing, I think, I mean, like I was going to say before, like I eat super healthy, but I still go on a cleanse every couple months. And I do a 3-day refresh. It's under the Beachbody program, but it just takes 3 days and we cleanse our body totally. And also Shakeology, you know, Ansley, is something you mentioned before. There's a lot of healthy food in that. So when people say, oh, I want to eat healthy, but I don't have the time, I don't have the time to cook, I don't have the time to prepare the healthy food. So when I'm at work, I got to go out and the only place I can get food is McDonald's. You know, it's not true. There's healthy food choices that can be fast and easy. And I'm talking about like Shakeology as well. Ansley, you mentioned Shakeology just before. And that's something I'm completely passionate about. Now, a lot of people might have ideas like, oh, it's not as healthy as you think, or it's too expensive, because it does cost like $100 or so for a bag. But the idea there is a bag lasts a whole month. You know, and if you break it down, you have it once a day. You know, that's 30 servings. You have it once a day. That's only a couple dollars for a whole meal replacement of healthy food. Now, the Shakeology thing is, it's not a protein supplement. There's a lot of protein in it, but it's a superfood. It's a many foods just put together into one. So it's like a nutrient packed, dense, you know, meal replacement shake that we can have. There's so many different, you know, aspects to it and things that are good in it people don't really recognize. You know, there's blueberry powder, citrus bioflavonoids, suma powder, flax, chia, chlorella, hydrilla, asparagus powder. Yeah, there's spinach powder. There's MSM in it also. You just mentioned MSM before. You know, there's pea fiber. There's quinoa in it. There's a lot of stuff that, you know, is really healthy. Like I said, nutrient packed, you know, food. Like, so like one glass of this stuff is probably the healthiest thing that I eat all day. On top of the healthy food choices that I make, the Shakeology is really what, you know, I feel like is a
Way
huge
cheaper than going to McDonald's, that's for sure.
Totally. You know, there's, you know, oatgrass, kamut grass, barley grass, ashwagandha powder, wheatgrass, grapeseed, there's like decaffeinated green tea extract. There's all these different components in it. You know, holy basil powder. There's all these different components in it to help us feeling good, looking good, and to contribute to different aspects of our life. And what I mean by that is, you know, losing weight, having more energy, reduce junk food cravings, you know, provide healthy energy, and it supports your digestion and regularity. So it's kind of like, it's not really a cleanse, but it supports regularity, and it cleans out a lot of that junk that we can accumulate in our intestines from day to day. So that's something that I'm definitely passionate about. I know we all have different ideas on different supplements or products that we are passionate about, you know, but Shakeology is one that I absolutely live by and swear by, and I know that I wouldn't have any of the results that I got with my fitness programs and eating healthy without it. That's for, like, hands down, 100% that sure.
Yeah. And I think anybody listening to this right now, we need to go on a zero tolerance for McDonald's right now. Anybody that McDonald's every now and then, like, that is so yesteryear.
Oh yeah. Everything
you
in
are.
moderation. Oh, these people with their everything. I'm like, get lost.
I haven't had McDonald's. If somebody stops at McDonald's and asks me if I want something to eat, I'm like, McDonald's still exists? Wait, are you guys are eating at McDonald's? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
Like, no, I don't want to eat McDonald's. Are you kidding me?
my son eats McDonald's, and it kills me. But it's like,
Oh my God.
we're going to talk about parenting, I think, next time or the time after. I know that's on our list. And, seriously I'm learning a lot. My son is 10, and I'm still, every day I'm learning. So, that's a wild thing too. But I totally understand, Cheryl, like the idea of going to some place like McDonald's and eating whatever that is, like all the components that are in those foods that dumb us down. They lower our vibration. They make us further away from our true potential of what we truly are on a spiritual level. It's kind of like alcohol. It's completely detrimental.
Yeah, absolutely no way. Zero tolerance there. McDonald's is like a foreign, like literally, like it's kind of like my brain is void of it to the point where when people go there, I'm like, this still exists? Like,
right.
It's dead to me.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of fast food places around. We have different ones here in New York than we do in Florida or Atlanta or California.
They're all the same as McDonald's, all that Burger King, Wendy.
Yeah.
New Cow.
I know down south. I know in Atlanta you guys had an In-N-Out burger. We don't have those here in New York.
Mainly in LA, I think, but no, all of those are the freaking same. It's all McDonald's to me. I actually just call them all McDonald's.
I think In-N-Out's a little better than McDonald's. A little better.
It tastes. Somebody told me that, and I actually took like a bite of their burger once a few years ago, and I was like, "Nah, tastes just like McDonald's to me."
It's McDonald's. That's funny. I love how you all just call them all McDonald's. Like every fast food is McDonald's. Like Dairy Queen, Friendlies, McDonald's.
Yeah, like that's how dead it is to me. When people stop there, I'm like, "What do you do here?"
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're getting food. Well, can we stop somewhere else after? Because it's like I'd literally rather starve than put one freaking French fry in my mouth.
No, totally. I was dropping my son off at his mother's house, and my older brother came for the ride, and they were excited because they wanted to get McDonald's, and I was like, sure, and I brought on the McDonald's, and we went in, and I bought them their food, I bought them their lunch or their dinner, and they were like, what are you gonna get? And I was like, you're kidding, right?
Funny, yeah.
So and then we drive, like 30 minutes down the road, and I pull into a Wild by Nature, and I go in and I get like a veggie burger, and like I'm like a pile of quinoa, and then they're like, wow,
free veggie burger and a pile of quinoa, right?
I don't think it's extreme. I'm like, listen, like this is, you guys eat what you really feel like you need and what you want, but I'm not putting that in my body, like. Yeah,
spend money on it too. I'm like, what? Like, I like Panera though. I don't know if you guys ever been.
No, we have a Panera here. There are some things. When I used to eat meat, I used to get like a kale salad with grilled chicken on it and like tomatoes and olive oil. And that was pretty decent, I felt like, because again, Ansley, you mentioned about the transparency of menu items at different places. I think Panera's pretty good with that because they at least give you the nutrition facts. Of the menu items, how many calories or the macronutrients, the protein,
super delicious,
fat, carbohydrate.
I always feel good.
Yeah.
After eating it.
Yeah, so we can make healthy food choices at places like that for sure.
And I understand doing it for your kids, and a lot of the kids now, they actually have a little bit better genes than we do because our generation, we were being introduced like guinea pigs to this crap. They are the second generation coming up, and DNA kind of has a way of altering itself, as Bashar has told us, that they're not going to actually, and the assistance from the extraterrestrials, getting a little woo here, but they're not, a lot of children aren't as susceptible to these toxins. They have a way of detoxing themselves. So, and also they're so young. I would definitely, like, if they want the McDonald's and they're going to like freak out, and like with you, Trent, their mother gets it for them, even if you don't. So, and with Ansley, I heard you laugh there earlier about it. So I'm guessing.
Like here, it just, I mean, like, it's just comical to me. Like, Trent's son eating McDonald's without knowing everything I know about Trent. I'm like, how does he handle that?
Yeah,
Like,
it's strange.
not even that I'm like, I mean, I think I could handle, I don't know, not after hearing Cheryl. Like, before this call, I could have maybe handled one of my children, like, eating McDonald's fries or something, but, like, now I'm like, ooh, McDonald's, like, thank you. I want it to be, like, like a dirty word. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Four-letter word.
But yeah, my husband, there's no way he could ever, like, watch, like, I mean, he's like, pretty, like, scared of McDonald's for the kids and stuff like that. So, I don't know. But it's just funny. Yeah.
For
But
me,
I mean, In and Out, like, the kids they don't eat burgers, but they'll eat fries at In and Out sometimes.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm being 34 and I'm trying, I'm not as healthy as I like. Sometimes I get like the steak tips and maybe we'll actually eat somebody's fry up at my job. But I do the detox. It's expensive. I don't want to hurt myself at this point. I want to be able to have kids. I want to live longer. I want to have the happy life, and when I was younger, I didn't really think about that stuff. I'm like, I'm going to live forever. I got good genes. But
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I had this call with someone, a good, like an old time friend of mine, and she was like, yeah, I mean, we're gonna live like another like 70 years at least, and I'm just like, okay, when you put it like that, holy moly, it's like I gotta get, like, if I got another 70 years, I gotta make some changes because it's like when you really look at the longevity of like how, and I think that's a good goal. I mean, regardless of what happens, it's like I've always wanted to like live a long life. I'm not, I try to remind other people of that too, because like sometimes people think it's like glamorous to die at 27. It's really not. It's really not, or they're like, oh, whatever, like I don't need to live that long, or I think I'll die young. It's like, or, oh, if someone is in the hospital, they're like, oh, well, maybe it'll be better if they go. It's like, no, it actually won't. They're still pretty young. Like, I've always kind of been like live as long as you can, and you do have to take care of your body and your mind and soul and everything, especially the body. And yeah, it's interesting what you said, Cheryl, because I mean, for instance, my parents, I sometimes used to look at their yearbooks, right? They're both born in the 50s, and every kid in their yearbook looked like a movie star. And I'm like, oh my God, why are they all so good looking? And it's like because they were eating like real food. Nice. That was before, I mean, the chemicals were introduced into America in the early 1900s, like the quote unquote toxins, but it wasn't really in the food for the 50s babies, the baby boomers. But then our generation, like the 80s kids, we got, like, no one had any awareness that like Wonder Bread was bad or McDonald's was bad or like TV dinners were bad. No one really knew. Like, a lot of people didn't know. Like no one really understood much about food, and now it seems like everybody who's like in their 30s, who's born in the 80s, understands something about food, like a lot. So hopefully, yeah, like I like what you're saying about the kids have a different way of processing that stuff too. So
I like
and
that.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. One of the fears that I had, was kind of thinking in the opposite direction. As young kids are growing and they're in a crucial phase of absorbing everything around them, and if they're not eating the right foods, the right nutrients, they're going to be malnourished in many different ways, in ways we won't be able to tell until they're older. And I mean in ways that we wouldn't necessarily associate. And I'm talking about like holding relationships, being reliable, being punctual, being organized, and things like that really come into play when nutrition isn't on point. But I really found a lot of comfort in what you said, Cheryl, about children having a different tolerance. I really like that, because it does really hurt a little bit, because Ari, my son, he loves his McDonald's, man, and like it kills me to bring him there, but at the same time I want him to at least of course we'll talk about parenting on another show, but to touch on a little bit, my son is really picky. He doesn't eat anything, like, at all. So when he finally eats something, I'm like, oh, thank God. And even if it's like just McDonald's, I'm like, well, at least it's something, which is a really, really bad attitude, especially for someone like, I don't know. So, I mean, I'm not perfect. And like I said, I have a lot to learn about parenting. And even though my son is 10 years old, I'm still, learning every day.
Yeah.
Me too. I go to Cheryl for parenting advice.
That's awesome.
I think a lot about it. I kind of had like a few years ago, just, I don't know, like a very magical download about all that stuff. And when it hit me, I was just like shaking my head, like, what am I going to do about this? Like, what am I going to do about the world? And, yeah, my friend had actually come to me and he was like, in my dream, like, some magical entity told me to tell you to write a book about parenting. And so, like, even though I don't have kids, I did actually raise my sister, and I always seem to be around kids. And it is my goal in the hopefully near future to have one of my own and put it all to the test. But yeah, in our parenting show, we're going to talk about attachment parenting. We're going to talk about some of the case studies, and we're just really going to get into it. It's going to be a great show, you guys. And
discipline and all that happy stuff. And totally. All right, so I guess it's getting kind of late here in New York. It's a little after 11 o'clock. I should go to.
I think we're at an hour and a half for this show. So
cool. Well, that was awesome.
Yeah.
There's a few more things we could have probably talked about with health and fitness, and we'll probably cover it eventually, especially with good old Trent.
Oh yeah, molecular universal.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's been awesome, you guys. Can't wait till next time.
Again, thanks so much for letting me be a part of this. This is really rocking.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Thank you both. Have a good night.
All right, good night, guys.
Love you.
Sweet dreams.
Listeners,
Bye.
love you guys. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.